Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto, and welcome to your middle of the day market update on the crypto markets. We're going to do a full update again, not with my good microphone. So again, my apologies for the audio. Hopefully you can bear with me. But again, I'm not home, so I'm recording from my new house, where I don't have the best hardware yet. But still going to make this a good video, right? So that at least the content is valuable, or at least so I hope. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get right into it. I'm in a different tab right now, but ultimately the markets today have been relatively stable. I mean, if you take a look at Bitcoin right here, we saw some continued bullish momentum. Although I think momentum is a big word, but at least some bullish price action up to this main resistance level towards 119.5. And in general, I mean, Bitcoin, what it's trying to do right now after all the news that came in over the course of last week, but then also the news that's coming out right now about the crypto bills, but also about the tariffs, etc. Like the market is trying to price that in. And I think Bitcoin is doing that as well. So it's trying to find some sort of a value where it can find balance. What I said this morning as well is that, this looks like very much local top price action. So that's what I expect for now. The only way in which I think we can make new highs is if we're going to be able to break out above 120,000 and 119.5 which is kind of the level we're at right now with strength, right? And that's also why the New York Open in the US session is very important, because that's normally when moves like that happen. And you can see that the volume was actually very, very low over the course of today until right now. So that has opened about 40 minutes ago. So far, we haven't seen much yet. So it's waiting for that, right? And ultimately, I would say that you can see this, right? Yeah, I think you can. So if you take a look at the general stock market, you can actually see that after the open, we went down a little bit, even though we got some economic data today with the PPI data coming out that I would argue was relatively good. We got PPI data that was lower than expected, so that suggests economic slowdown. So that increases the possibility of a potential interest rate cut, right? So that's normally seen as bullish, but at this point of time, not much of a reaction. And like I said, I mean, stocks are moving down slightly. Dollar strength index is moving up, which fundamentally are both bearish for the crypto markets. So the fact that Bitcoin is holding up relatively well is actually bullish. And I actually do think that we can rally higher than our current all-time high at $123,000 as well. I would just say that given the volume that we've seen so far, given the momentum that we have at this point of time, but also just general feel, I would say it's a little bit more likely that Bitcoin is going to remain stable. And with stability, look, we haven't really formed some sort of a clear structure yet, but I would say the most important levels to look at are 119.5 to the downside, and then 116.8, where we have the 7-day rolling VWAP and a fair value gap to the downside. And that's kind of the area that Bitcoin is within, and those are the critical areas. And we're waiting for new momentum to kick in. That could either be because of news, but that could also just be a technical move for a breakout above or below that range. And that's what we're waiting for. Now, I do think that there's more action in other corners of the market, though, right? First of all, and we spoke about this yesterday in the middle of the day market update as well, Ethereum is actually very, very strong over the course of today, has also continued to rally. Now, normally in these videos, I always talk about altcoins towards the end of the video, but Ethereum is not only on higher time frames extremely bullish. And do I think we're going to pull back? Yes, I mean, eventually, yes, that is going to happen. That always happens, right? However, at this point of time, there still is a lot of momentum. And then if we take a look at some Ethereum ecosystem coins, there's a lot of strength as well. Ethereum naming service, so ENS, very, very strong. Pendle is also forming a nice bullish structure here. EtherFi is gaining a lot of momentum. So that's definitely, like, in terms of, Bitcoin might be just trying to find balance here and might not be doing much, but there's definitely opportunities. So that's the main direction that I'd like to point you towards. There's some other altcoins as well that I think are interesting and that I think you should keep an eye on. So we'll talk about those in a moment. But first of all, XRP is still relatively stable, actually has been able to move up a little bit over the course of today as well. For me, the main level for XRP specifically is still $3. And I have said for the last couple of videos that I don't expect that to sustainably break. So do I think the price can move above that? Yes, but I think that would be a little bit like this, right? So I kind of expect something similar as what I expect for Bitcoin, and then a pullback and then some stability. I'd say that's more likely for XRP right here. And so far, I mean, same thing. We're at $3, so you would say, well, a breakout is easy, but we got there with very, very low volume. We have rejected so far, and if we do break out above $3 again with low volume, there's quite a high risk of it being a fake out, right? So that's something definitely not to be worried about, but because on the higher time frames, again, XRP looks great, but it's something you have to be aware of. Now, and when we're talking about that, there's no other major news I think we need to talk about right now. I mean, I might have missed something. Let me quickly see. I don't really think so. No, I mean, there's some increased tension in the Middle East, which I do think you need to know about. But at this point of time, that doesn't seem to be affecting the markets that much. The volatility index is still down. So a couple of altcoins that I think are interesting. So let's talk briefly about that. BERA, I still think is very interesting. Here you can see it's trying to form a nice uptrend, a nice bullish structure here. Definitely want to keep your eyes on. Cow protocol is also trying to break out above a massive resistance level at 47 cents. I think that's quite interesting. And this might be a little bit of a surprise, but I actually think BOME, so that's Book of Meme, structurally looks very, very good. Broke above the previous range right here, with the main level being 1750, and so far we're holding that and we're actually gaining volume. So that's Book of Meme, right? So the ticker of that is this BOME. So yeah, keep your eyes on that, but that's what I think you need to know for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos, and bye.